Welcome back, everyone, to Miss Azrael's Gaming. So today we're going to jump back into Murders on the Yangtze River. Now, this has been a while since I've actually played this game, because a lot of stuff, had come in, like Moonveil, the second episode of that. We had the end game of Argus. Just had a lot of games coming through, and so we're going to jump back into this. Now, if I remember correctly, we were on the case of the woman who, ran from the writer's home. I can't remember names right now, but I can't remember if she had died. I think she did, because I think we found her body in the wardrobe of the guy that we suspected of murdering his uncle. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in, because it's been a while since I've played. Okay, let's see, tab. Okay, crime of false accusation. According to the Great Qing Legal Code, it is stipulated that those who falsely accuse others and receive a flogging shall also be punished with a second-degree offense for crimes of exile, penal services, or caning. The accuser shall be punished with a third-degree offense in addition to the original false accusation, with a minimum limit of 100 canings and 3,000-mile exile. If the accused has already served their sentence and it is later proven that they were wrongly accused, they shall be released and their belongings returned to them. However, toll fees for the distance traveled during the exile shall be deducted from the accused person's account and compensated to the falsely accused. Therefore, the accuser not only bears the punishment for their false accusations, but also faces additional penalties and compensations, thus granting justice to the falsely accused. However, due to the various limitations of the era, false accusations were still prevalent in the Qing dynasty in 1636 to 1912. Okay. Now, I do not remember what we were doing. Okay, so Officer Ma is being held in another cell, but I intend to have a chat with him. Yeah, because Officer Ma was arrested for murdering that woman. And I want to say, I know I've been through this area, because I remember talking to everybody. Of who, what are you looking for? Huh? What? How come Mr. Keo's pastry stall is gone? I suppose it must have closed down after selling out. Well, I was planning to get some steamed buns to take on the road. Well, you're always thinking with your stomach there, Fu. Oh my, you're finally back. I'm sorry, Uncle Wong. We encountered a case that caused delays. I figured it would be like this. Let's hurry and get on the boat first. We're sitting still. Steady yourself. Shipmaster, with this flywheel, we can continue our journey. Apu, you're just like your father. Relentless in experiments, neglecting anything else. Oh, has he already burned a generator while experimenting? The things he's burned are much bigger than generators. When there's time later, I'll tell you more. For now, let's just replace this flywheel. Okay. It's been a truly long day, hasn't it? Indeed. 2 consecutive murder cases in a single day. Shen, you've had a busy day too. Get some rest now. No rush. I need to make some case records. You haven't slept all night either. Why not take a break? Blacksmith Ta helped me make a spring. I want to install it in my invention. What new invention do you have now? It's a secret. Once I finish it, you'll find out. Don't burn the generator again. Don't worry, I'll pay attention to the voltage this time. Oh goodness, 2 days later. Sin, the captain has steered the ship towards Yangzhou. Sure, let's visit the Golden Words publication house. Hopefully we'll discover something there. Shen, how about telling me more about that case? I can help you. Certainly. I was planning to go through the case again from the beginning. Shen, are the details of the crime in Lopai's novel really identical to this case? Indeed. It all started 3 years ago. Three years ago, I was studying law in Boston. In August of the same year, I received a message from Joseph, a good friend of my brother, informing me that my brother had died mysteriously in his apartment in London. Determined to uncover the truth, I decided to travel to London. The greenhouse ahead is where my brother met his fate. This is the place. Hello, may I ask if this is Officer Jones? You are? I am John Chen, brother of Brian Chen. My close friend Brian Chen's younger brother, John Chen, is about to arrive in London. Okay, let's see. So, dear Mr. Jones, I write to inform you that John Chen, my departed friend's brother, shall soon arrive in London. I humbly beseech your assistance in arranging his pilgrimage to the site of Brian Chen's passing and provide him access to review the case files at Kingston Police Station. With profound regards, Joseph Escart Bell. Please guide him to inspect Brian's death scene and facilitate his access to the case files. Joseph Escart Bell. Since it's Joseph's request, I'll surely coordinate with you. I'm Cody Jones, investigating your brother's case. Just call me Jones. Thank you for your help. Speaking of which, your brother's scene looks rather eerie. Young man, you sure you want to step in? I'm sure. Alright, after checking the scene, come to the office. We'll sort out some paperwork. This is a horrible accent for this guy. So we wrap up the case then. You guys again, how many times you come without invite? Is police station 2 free or whole London only has case at my place? Mrs. Chen, sorry for nae giving you a heads up today. Brought important person, huh? Move aside. Look, they really do look alike, these two brothers. The younger brother is even more handsome than the elder brother. Auntie Chang, in the letters my brother sent me before, he often mentioned your care for him. A good man, your brother. Ambitious and talented. Bad luck, such things happen. Mrs. Chang, can we first... Take off shoes first. Don't dirty my carpet. Keep windows shut. Bad energy if open. Every time you come, my house a mess. My medicine on stove. Knock it over, see what happens. Nay bother. Dinna fash yourself? I have no idea what he was trying to say there. We didn't mean to intrude over much. Theoretically speaking, this should be last trip. That's not what the sign says. You foreigners, you will have more visits. Alright, come in. Stick close to your esteemed guest. Esteemed guest? Without him, you break my vase today. Compensate me? It's, Cluacine? Expensive. Vase? Oh, wow. I got good reflexes. See, I told you. This room is his studio. The murder happened right here. He often locks himself inside. Researching. I don't understand why he's researching either. Thank you, Auntie Cheng, for your help. Young man, take your time to look around. You, walk careful. Don't break my things again. I mean, he technically didn't break it. I really hope this is the last time I be stepping in here. Officer Jones, could you please tell me about the situation at that time? Of course. That afternoon at 2:05, we got a telegram saying there's been a murder in this room. We went upstairs to check, found the door locked from the inside, had to break the lock open. Once inside, we saw the victim lying in a rather eerie pose on the chair. A dagger plunged into his chest. His expression was awfully strange, a lot of pain, but half his face seemed to be smiling. What kind of dagger is it? Is there anything special about it? Nothing remarkable in appearance, light in weight, but razor sharp. What is the current direction of the police investigation? Have you identified any suspects yet? I thought Joseph had already filled you in on this. Well, Mr. Shen, based on the evidence gathered so far, the police have come to the conclusion. Your brother took his own life. Suicide? Impossible. My brother would never kill himself. The room was sealed off at the time of the incident. All doors and windows were locked from inside. The only key was in your brother's own hand. Not just that, but the weapon only had his fingerprints on it as well. Keen, it's hard to accept. My condolences. I get they're trying to do an English accent, but it's really hard to read. Okay, Scotland Yard. In 1829, the British Parliament passed the Modern Professional Police Act for the first time, establishing Metropolitan Police Service, with its headquarters located at 4 Whitehall Square. Because the public interest faces Great Scotland Yard Street, the public generally referred to London Police as Scotland Yard. Its jurisdiction covers 32 boroughs, such as Westminster and Camden. Okay, fingerprint identification. Fingerprint identification can be traced back to the Qin dynasty of 221 to 207 BCE, where fingerprints pressing on waxing seal was used for sealing important letters. By the Shang and Song dynasty, theories related to identifying individuals by fingerprints were already in existence. In 1788, the German anatomist Johann Christoph Andreas Mayer was the first to propose that no two individuals have identical fingerprints, which gradually led to the formation of modern fingerprint science in the 19th century. At the beginning of the 20th century, police stations in cities like Guangdong and Shanghai established fingerprint registration departments, marking one of the symbols of jurisdictional appraisal reform in the late Qing dynasty. Okay, let's examine the door. There's a wooden door with a round lock. The lock is already damaged. When we got here, the doorknob was locked from the inside, so we had to force the door open. Okay, which we knew about that. Okay. Officer Jones, was my brother sitting in this chair at the time of death? Strictly speaking, he was not sitting in the chair, but leaning on it in a very particular posture. His head and lower limbs were bent downwards, while his body arches upwards like a bow. How could this be? We've looked into it sorts, but there's no definitive answer. Nay ruling out what he got a massive fight or pain reaction at the very moment of his passing. Yikes. Brian. Mr. Shen? Mr. Shen, you alright, pal? You look as if you just came back from the depths of hell. Can I take a closer look around here? Please, go ahead. Okay, crime scene investigation. Is this shape a key? Aye, we took it as evidence in our investigation. This is the sole key to the room, and we discovered it gripped in Brian's left hand. There were only your brother's fingerprints on the key. Okay, so key to the room, the only key to the room, it was found in my brother's hand. Only my brother's fingerprints were found on. Okay, it looks like some burnt paper here. An unburned scrap of paper, seemingly made of oiled paper. It seems that there was something written on it, but it is impossible to recognize it. Okay, so burned paper ashes were found on the body. There was also an unburned scrap of paper with illegible, whatever the rest of that was. There's something here. An asbestos mesh with burn marks on it. The corners of the asbestos mesh is tied with wire, and the middle part has been replaced with wax. It might have been used for experiments, as asbestos mesh is a common tool in labs. Okay, so the mesh is charred black with a thin iron wire tied at each corner. The central asbestos has been replaced. Okay, there's something here. There were many scattered paper ashes around the chair. Not just around the chair, but there were quite a few paper ashes on your brother's body. I heard in East you burn paper during ancestral worship ceremonies. Do you reckon this has any connection to your brother's passing? Ancestral worship ceremonies? Indeed, Mrs. Cheng mentioned that August 15th, according to your calendar, is a special holiday. That day was the Ghost Festival, and also the anniversary of my father's death. So you're suggesting that on that day, your brother was performing ancestral worship for your father? It's not possible. Our relationship with our father was not good, and we have never done such a thing before. There's something here on the chair. Drops of blood on the floor as well as on the edges of the chair, which have already coagulated. There were no blood stains in the room except near the chair. Officer, how were the blood stains distributed on my brother's clothes at the time? There were a wee bit of blood stains on the clothing near the dagger, but aside from that, there was nay clear flow direction, nay to the left, right, up, nor down. Looks like something might be there. Officer Jones, if my brother's body was contorted when he was killed, how was he leaning on the chair? Let me do a wee sketch for you. Here's how he and the chair were set up at the moment. The victim's body and the chair found a fine equilibrium, a delicate balance. And feels like that'd be pretty impossible to me, but I'm not sure if that was a coincidence. Okay, is there anything on... Still have a little bit more here. When my brother's body was found, it was contorted. His body in the chair achieved a delicate balance. Okay, so nothing there. Maybe anything on the body here. Brian, what exactly happened? I won't let you die like this without knowing the truth. I will definitely find the murderer and bring them to justice. Okay, I'm trying to... The white circle represents the position and posture of my brother when he was killed. I can't let him die like this without knowing the truth. Okay, I'm trying to see what else... I'm pretty sure this is connected with that, but... Yeah, it was contorted. I don't really see anything else to click on. Oh, deep claw marks on the chair legs with slight traces of blood on them. Brian, what exactly did you experience? Now, that was a tough one. I honestly didn't even notice that. I just got really lucky. Okay, a beam of light shines through the skylight directly onto the chair where the murder occurred. What is this? The skylight window frame shows scorch marks, and the marks appear to be fresh. Oh, indeed, those are scorch marks. Even though it's unclear what caused them, this is unrelated to the case. How can you tell? The skylight is very high, and without a ladder, there's no way one can reach it. Mrs. Chang's house doesn't have that. Besides, we've inspected the skylight, and it's locked from the inside of the house. Thick dust on the glass, not a sign of it being touched or tampered with. It's highly probable that the scorch marks were made before the accident. Okay, so the skylight is very high with scorch marks on the frame, the lock showing signs of rust hasn't been open for years. This is your brother's studio, and the marks on the window are likely caused by experiments. Okay, several books on the desk, including Principles of Chemistry and the Interpretation of Dreams. It seems like these are books that Brian often read. Each book's spine has some ink stains. Their arrangement seems to have a certain pattern. Officer Jones, may I organize these books? Aye, the police investigation is done, and they're now your property. Okay, so following how that looks, if this is the first one, although it might be the first one. Indeed, the ink stains on the books spread diagonally. These ink stains indeed appear to be flicked from a fountain pen. There's a break in the middle of the ink stain, as if I would say there's a missing book. It's not an obstruction. It's a missing book because it's going to go a little bit lower. Clearly, another book in the middle has been taken. Could you please tell me if the police took a book with ink stains on its spine from the scene? Nah. Could it be that the killer took the book? Seems difficult to confirm if the book was missing then or if it's been gone for a while. Mr. Shen, you need to trust the police. Don't assume that there's a killer on your aim. I really wish this accent's awful. I wish they would have just left it normal. There's a killer on your aim. A book is missing. It should have ink stains on the spine. Not sure when it was taken. Excuse me. Okay, 7 candles arranged on the ground in the shape of the Big Dipper. Each candle securely fixed to the floor with wax by someone. It looks like some kind of mysterious Eastern ritual. The Big Dipper... Chongping, can you still find the Big Dipper? Right there. And looking in the direction of the spoon's handle, you can find the North Star. The North Star is the only star that remains fixed at the North Celestial Pole. Therefore, travelers use it as a guide for direction when they are away from home. Find the North Star anywhere. It guides you back home from afar. Since the candles are arranged in the shape of the Big Dipper, the position of Polaris is near the desk. Is there anything special about the desk? I didn't find anything special on the desk either. If I had to say, there are some marks on the candles instead. Tell me quickly. You see the side of the candle, there's a shallow scratch. The yin next to is also the yin next to it also has one. Interestingly, these two swatches are on the same horizontal plane. Okay, so 7 candles arranged on the floor in the shape of the Big Dipper. 2 of them have shallow scratches on their sides. Indeed, they are quite suspicious. Could they be traces left by the murderer? The possibility of this being a case of homicide is very, very low. Currently, no evidence links the candles to the murder case. Is this photo of my brother and his friends? They're your brother's classmates. I heard Joseph took the photo. The one in the middle is Stone Wu. He knew your brother from before coming to the UK. It seems I've met him when I was a child. The one on the right is Toby Cheng. He's your brother's classmate at the University of London. Okay, a photo of my brother and his classmates. It was taken by Joseph. When we entered the scene, the phonograph was still playing, but it stopped after a short while. Did it stop because the wax cylinder ran out? It has been about 50 minutes of playing. I have personally verified this matter. There's a cafe downstairs in this building, just a floor below. Staff reported continuous opera music from this room, 1:40 to 2:30 p.m. that day. Did they hear any other sounds? No. Okay, so when police arrived at the scene, the phonograph was playing the Peking Opera 7-Star Lamp. Mr. Shen, interested in listening to the phonograph content? Let's give it a listen. Now, I might not play because I have the music turned off. This is the Peking Opera. The content sounds somewhat familiar. The phonograph is playing Peking Opera 7-Star Lamp. 7-Star Lamp. What is it about? It's about Zhong Liang, who failed to borrow 10 years of lifespan from heaven in 1,790 years ago. So that's how it is. Okay, so the Peking Opera 7-Star Lamp, 46 minutes long, tells the story of Kong Ming begging for longevity. A lab bench that is filled with bottles and containers. Okay, so crime scene investigation. A dismantled kerosene lamp on the table. Several long cotton threads soaked in the kerosene bottle. A small brush inside. Okay, so 7 long cotton threads soaked in the kerosene. A stack of oiled paper on the table. Each sheet is large and thin. Various chemicals and reagents placed on the lab bench. Among them, there are aspirin, procaine, and, oh goodness, trichloromethane. Test tubes contain powdered herbal medicines such as Sophora fulvescens and Angelica sinensis. I probably did not pronounce this correctly. This bottle contains strychnine. Officer Jones, do you know there is strychnine in my brother's room? Oh, Denafas? We've certainly looked into this angle. I don't know what Denafas... I just don't something. Maybe Fred? Your brother's autopsy and toxicology tests were done by Joseph, a forensic expert. Even though the signs on the body looked like strychnine poisoning, the test came out negative. So he has signs on his body of strychnine poisoning, and it just comes out negative? That doesn't make any sense. What about other toxins? Of course. All of them came back negative. Our capabilities are limited, and some new drugs may not be detected. What is the current police speculation about the cause of my brother's body contortion? Just a moment. Let me check my notebook. It has Joseph's theory. Oh, found it. We found a recently healed wound on the victim's foot. If there is rust contamination on the wound, or if he was exposed to germs during experiments, then there's a possibility of tetanus infection. If he got a fright or felt intense pain, it might have caused back spasms. Or if there's stimulation causing back nerve paralysis, it could lead to body contortions. In summary, Joseph thinks there are many possible causes for the body contortion. As for the toxicology test results, they were all negative. Okay, so there are many reasons for the contortion of the body, mostly related to paralysis of the back nerves due to whatever that was. Because it's all cut off on that one. But we pretty much get the information when we look at the stuff. The windows can only be opened from the inside. Below is the busy Plymouth Street, with fashion stores, jewelry shops, and furniture stores. Not far away are the iconic Palace of Westminster and the Royal Opera House. Through the window, the 3-storied Savoy restaurant across seems to be very busy. Okay, so let's see. Oh, goodness, we've got a lot. Okay, so the Hungry Ghost Festival. The Hungry Ghost Festival, also known as Shongyuan Festival, is a traditional Chinese festival observed on the 15th day of the 7th month in the lunar calendar. In ancient times, during the 7th month of the lunar calendar, the emperor presented the newly harvested grains to ancestral temple to repay the blessings of God's ghosts and ancestors. In Buddhism, believers held a Bon festival ceremony on the same day according to the Ulambana Sutra, offering sacrifices to monks and returning merit to their parents. In Taoism, it is said that the Emperor of the Central Plains, the highest official in the land, forgives the sins of the dead on this day. People offer flowers and fruits, set up altars, and recite scriptures, praying for the Emperor to forgive their ancestors and also save other souls. Okay, so wax cylinder phonograph. The wax cylinder phonograph, popular from 1896 to 1910, was a recording and playback audio device that utilized the principles of converting sound waves into vibrations of a metal needle to a recorder and played back waveforms on wax cylinders. In 1877, Thomas Edison invented the foil cylinder phonograph, which was prone to damage and had limited playback capability. It was later improved and adjusted to become the all-wax cylinder phonograph, which was introduced to the market in 1888. And gain widespread recognition. Okay, so the Peking Opera 7-Star Lamp, a traditional Peking opera play, also known as Kong Ming Begs for Longevity, adapted from the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Okay, I've heard of that. It tells the story of Zhuge Liang. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. You have to forgive me. 181 to 234, a prominent Chinese military strategist who suffered from severe vomiting and blood loss. He performed a ritual that used 7 lamps to prolong his life. However, the ritual was interrupted, and Zhuge Liang died with a premonition of his future. Okay, strychnine. Strychnine is a type of alkaloid extract from the plant Strychnos nux vomica. Oh my god, scientific words. Nux vomica? It is slightly soluble in water, colorless, extremely bitter, and highly toxic. According to legend, it is believed that the poison was used to kill Li Yu, an emperor in China. The symptoms of strychnine poisoning include restlessness, twitching of facial and neck muscles, followed by severe muscle spasms throughout the body. Death usually occurs within 1 to 3 hours after poisoning due to asphyxiation or exhaustion. The individual's face may show a bitter smile, and the body may exhibit aching or arching and stiffness, resembling symptoms of tetanus. Yeah, our brother was poisoned, and then he was just stabbed for no reason. Okay, so forensics toxicology testing. For a long time, the detection of poisons in criminal investigations was a significant challenge. It was not until after the chemical revolution of the 18th century that a new understanding of elements laid the foundation for poison detection. The chemists, or philia, conducted numerous experiments to establish analytical methods for identifying poisons from biological tissues and fluids. He organized a systematic classification and identification method of poisons into a treatise on forensic medicine. Later, he marked the formation of forensic toxicology by extracting arsenic from the internal organs of the deceased to confirm poisoning. They really went deep into this game, I gotta say. I love the knowledge and stuff that you get from it. It's very interesting. Okay, so circular outline. What was originally inside this white circle? A roll of Morse code paper strip, which we took as evidence. So you found it on the ground? Aye, that's right. I suspected it fell from the Morse code telegraph machine. Does it have any content on it? I. It's a telegram from Mr. Bell, Joseph's father. We've checked the contents, discussing the development of a certain drug. Nothing suspicious. Excuse me. So, found on the ground next to the desk, telegrams are sent by Mr. Bell discussing drug development. Okay, on the top shelf, there are certificates and medals that my brother has received. In the middle, there are some pharmaceutical theory books and laboratory equipment. On the bottom shelf, there are several wax cylinder records, including Autumn in the Han Palace. Okay, so that looks like everything. At least on that. Okay. Morse code telegraph. Morse code is an encoding method invented by the British inventor Samuel Morse. It encodes English letters and Arabic numerals using a combination of dots, dashes, and spaces to facilitate the effective transmission of information. The Morse code telegraph machine operates on the principle of controlling the opening and closing of an electromagnet with electric currents. It prints the transmitted or received information on a roll of paper strip, thus carrying out the work of information transmission. Oh, how'd I miss that? This is the telegraph machine on the table, and there are traces of it being used on that day. The Morse code paper reel we found should be fitted in the hexagonal area on its tap. Other than that, no other abnormalities were found on the machine. Okay, so used on the day of Brian's death, the Morse code paper reel detached from it. Okay, so Officer Jones, can I ask you a few more questions? I, as long as it helps to solve the case swiftly. Okay, so about the person who filed the report. Officer Jones, you mentioned earlier that someone filed a report. May I ask who the reporter is? It came in as an anonymous telegram. It had only one sentence. A homicide occurred at 79th Prilly Street. It does sound somewhat illogical. Since this room is locked and it's a suicide, how could anyone know a homicide occurred here? I must admit, you've got a sharp mind, but... See, the curtain in the window was not closed at the time. It's likely that someone from the opposite building saw the body through the window. Have the police question the residents of the building opposite? I, and anything you can think of, we have already considered. Just down to that building to look for... Just go to the building and look for eyewitnesses. Took up my entire week. It's hard to identify potential witnesses with the busy restaurant on the 3rd floor. Okay, so an anonymous telegram with only one sentence. A homicide occurred at 79 Prilly Street. How can anybody see that? Like, I would get this window. You could see it, but not from this one. You'd have no idea. Okay, so Officer Jones, can I ask a few more questions? About Joseph. Officer Jones, you and Joseph were both at the Kensington Division, right? Joseph was in my superior just half a month ago. However, 2 weeks ago, he got a transfer order and was set to be moved to Shanghai. Was Joseph in charge of my brother's case before? That's correct. But no, the case is in the hands of the new detective sergeant. The new sergeant is not an easy person to deal with. When we go to the police station later, you'll witness it yourself. Officer Jones, can I ask you a few more questions? As long as it helps to solve the case swiftly. Okay. Ask about suspects. Officer Jones, may I ask if the police have identified any suspects yet? Mr. Shen, as I mentioned before, your brother's death was a suicide, so there are no suspects. Even if it's determined to be a suicide, don't we need to rule out the possibility of homicide? Of course. We have looked into all the suspicious individuals. Mrs. Cheng, the only person there in the flat that day. Stone Wu, your brother's classmate, had a guild relationship with him, but had a big row after, or had a good relationship with him, but had a big row of 4. And Toby Cheng, your brother's classmate, had a competitive relationship with him. And then there's also the sender of the telegram, Mr. Bell, your brother's research project sponsor. We've interrogated all these individuals, and they have alibis for the time of the incident. I completely understand your desire to uncover the truth. But the truth is, your brother committed suicide. Officer Jones, can I ask you a few more questions? Okay, so there's no more questions to ask for that. Can't look at the window. Auntie Chang, do you want to know about my personal matters, about your brother's matters, or about the case? How about yourself? You'd like to ask how long I've been in London? Exactly. I am from Teochew Canton, and I've been here for 13 years. The fog in London, toxic. You can see nothing. Smell unpleasantly. Lungs corrupted for living here. No one cares about this terrible environment. Auntie Chang, the staircase is indeed... My lungs are still all right. The medicine inside is nothing special. They're all tonic herbs. Astragalus, ginseng, and goji berries. Do you want to know about my personal matters? Okay, so about my brother. Auntie Chang, may I ask... Your brother's polite and knowledgeable, and our 5 elements are a good match. According to the sexagenarian cycle, I was born on Jingying Day, and your brother on Jihai Day. Jingying belongs to metal, while Jihai belongs to earth, and earth generates metal. The yin and yang are balanced, mutually generating and thriving. If he rents this house for me, both he and I should benefit. Alas, his year predicts misfortune and a short life. Don't move. Your eyes are bright and lively. Your facial features are well proportioned, sign of long life. Listen to my advice. Don't hold on to gains and losses. Only trap you in inner demons. Okay, so about the case. Auntie Chang, may I ask, what happened that day? That day, I was sitting at the entrance. Brian came back at noon and greeted me. Also, I saw several people following him like ghosts. After your brother came back, they stood opposite side of the street, staring here. Keep an eye on him. Do you know that my brother... It seems like he also noticed. His left facial muscle was twitching a bit. Expression looks peculiar, very rigid. At that time, it was approximately around 1 o'clock. I watched him go upstairs and lock himself inside. He didn't come out again. Before the police arrived, I stayed at the entrance the whole time, and no one else went in. Auntie Chang, regarding this matter, what do you... I told the police, but they didn't believe me. They even said it was my mistake. The public security here, bad. Okay, so on the day of the incident, Mrs. Chang noticed that someone was monitoring her house. Do you want to know about my personal... Okay, so we don't have any other questions. A wooden miscellaneous cabinet. Inside, there are various uncommonly used items piled up. There's a statue of Kuan Yu placed as an offering on the ancestral altar. In front of the statue is a censer with 3 burning incense sticks inside. Medicine is being brewed on the stove, and the hallway is filled with a strong herbal smell. But this smell is unfamiliar. It doesn't resemble common Chinese herbal medicine. These are Brian's coat and hat. I didn't find any suspicious clues. The bookcase in the bedroom is filled with detective novels. There are also The Murders in the Rue Morgue, The Woman in White, and The Moonstone. A whole collection of Sherlock Holmes series. The Return, a book gifted by Joseph. There's a dedication he left on the title page. Brian, welcome back to the Conan Doyle Book Club. Enjoy The Return, Joseph. I remember Brian's dream to become a detective. This photo. This is probably the only family photo. If it weren't for our father, the family wouldn't have fallen apart. Now, even you have left. Okay, so the only family photo we have with the side with my father hidden, folded away. It's my brother's diary. The previous pages have been torn off. Only one page remains. This is a dead end. Everything is meaningless. Utterly meaningless. This is... Dad, can a lantern really make wishes come true? Of course it can. The sky lantern is a messenger to the moon for listening to wishes. Really? Does the moon listen to our wishes? Yes, write wishes on your lantern, release it into the sky, the moon becomes aware. Then I want to become a great traveler. Brother, what is your wish? My wish is to become a detective. Brother, what is a detective? Detectives also go on adventures like travelers do, but they always manage to notice the details that others overlook. That sounds impressive. Then I want to become a detective traveler. That's great. I believe it will definitely come true. The sky lantern is flying. Dad, hurry up and take a photo. Okay, so a photo by my father capturing the moment when my brother and I released sky lanterns. This was taken before my father. This photo has been with my brother all along. Okay, so after a while. I've already checked everything. Please take me to the police station to have a look at the case files. Aye, brah. We're off then. At the station, you'll need to sign a few papers for me. Okay, got the achievement. Ordinary suit, a suit Shin Chung Ping wore while in London. Okay, so gentlemen, I just received a telegram from Edgar Lee at Hengyang Iron Works and need your help. He is a longtime friend of mine. This morning, an extremely mysterious incident occurred at their ironworks. I think at Hengyang Ironworks? I've been wanting to visit Hengyang Ironworks. Shin, let's take on this commission. It's on our way anyway. Okay. Let's leave immediately. Okay, early 20th century Wuhan. Iron and steel, the backbone of industry. In the history of Wu and Yu, there are records of Gan Ying and Mo Yi's secret to steelmaking. The transformation of spirit and matter requires a human sacrifice. I once believed that was only an ancient legend. Yet history chose to repeat itself once more. Oh, crap. The Haunted Furnace, Chapter 3. Look, Shin. Hengyang Ironworks right up ahead. Let's hurry on in. You two gentlemen must be detectives the shipmaster Lo recommended. I am Li Ai, the deputy administrator of the Hengyang Ironworks. I am Shin Chungping. This is my assistant Afu. Please tell me the course of events of this incident, Your Honor. This morning, Foreman Ting accidentally fell into the ladle and caused an explosion. Sounds like an accident. Was something wrong? When Foreman Ting fell into the ladle, two workers witnessed the entire process. They both claim that Foreman Ting appeared out of thin air at the second floor furnace area.
Huh?
Appeared out of thin air. That's right. No one saw him go up, but in the blink of an eye, he was just standing there. It caused massive panic because rumors of ghosts were beginning to spread among the workers. That is indeed particularly odd. The situation is getting out of control. Any more delay could cause more troubles to arise. I hope you can uncover the truth today so that we can calm the workers and resume production. Don't worry and leave it to us, Mr. Deputy Administrator. Shin is a professional. Thank you for your troubles. I still have matters to attend to, so please excuse me.
Huh?
Huh. I didn't get to ask him what the exact rumors were yet. We should go to the site of the incident first to take a look. Okay, Deputy Administrator. In the newly established government offices or representative organizations at the end of the Qing Dynasty, the Deputy Administrator refers to the Assistant Director of the organization and his official title. The Executive Director is usually called the Administrator or the General Manager. For example, when preparations for the construction of the Hanyang Iron Works began, Xia Ziyong was appointed as the Administrator, and Zhao Weiqing, along with Zhu Xingying, were appointed as deputy administrators. They were in charge of machinery purchases, site selection, iron mining, coal mining, and other affairs in ironworks. Ooh, I can equip it. I was wondering, because I remember noticing these, like, early on. Some scenes do not support outfit changes. Okay, change of attire or wardrobe change is essential on the journey was the achievement. A victim appeared out of thin air. The deputy administrator claims that workers saw Ting appeared suddenly on the second floor. Then, in front of witnesses, he fell from the second floor furnace area into the ladle. The deputy administrator claims that workers saw Ting appear suddenly on the appear suddenly on the second floor. Okay, so that updated that. I was going to say, wait a minute, is this like repeating? Molten steel is flowing out from the outlet. What a grand sight. You know about them statues in the office? Yeah, what about it? They got something to do with Foreman Ting's death. Okay, oh, it's Auntie Vu. Auntie, you're here as well. The official said that something terrible happened here and asked me to come examine the body. I rushed over here the second I arrived. I haven't even had the time to eat lunch yet. But, Auntie, can you still examine the body after it fell into a furnace? What's there to examine? He's all ashes now. I don't have any godlike abilities to help me distinguish a corpse from slag. Yeah, even if Auntie was the reincarnation of Song-Chi, it's still impossible. At least you get the point, unlike them. So it seems like you two are overseeing this matter as well. That is correct, Auntie Vu. Do you have any information on this case? The deceased is called Ting Tafeng. He was 45 years old and the foreman of the factory floor. There are lots of rumors about the cause of his incident, but most of them can't be taken seriously. Auntie, have you heard the rumors too? Come on, tell me. You little rascal, why are you always so interested in chasing shadows? Without an autopsy, it'll be even more difficult to uncover the truth.
Huh?
You're right, Auntie. He fell from the second floor, so you should go there. No need to waste your time here. I mean, that's what you think. Anything could be a clue. Okay, so we have Song Si, was a government official and forensic medical scientist from the Southern Song Dynasty, 1127 to 1279. He dedicated his life working in the criminal court and accumulated a remarkable amount of experience in forensic identification. In his later years, he wrote the book Collected Cases of Injustice Rectified, the oldest known monumental work on forensic science, more than 300 years earlier than when relevant works began to appear in Europe. Why is this area blocked off by ropes? Someone is protecting the scene by using the ropes as a boundary line. Such a careful and professional arrangement must have been the work of Auntie Vu. Stop licking my boots. It was already like this when I got here. Huh? Who could it have been? This is ladle number 2, the ladle that the foreman fell into. The ladles are 2 meters tall and can hold up to 30 tons of molten steel at a time. Okay, so standing over 2 meters tall, it can hold 30 tons of molten steel at a time where workers witness Foreman Ting falling into it. Shin, we'll reach the site of the incident when we go up from here. Hopefully all the crucial evidence will still be there. Okay, so I knew something was wrong with Foreman Ting. You play with fire, you get burned. We should investigate the site of the incident before we go there. Okay, so we can't go over the side. Afu, what is the matter? Look, there are scorch marks all over the stairs. The explosion was caused by the incident. Even the stairs were affected. The splash range of the explosion must have been quite wide. This means that no one could approach these stairs for quite a while, even after the explosion. Afu, is this lever used to open the molten steel outlet? That's right. This is a very thoughtful design. How is that so? Look, this lever is really long. You have to stand here to open the outlet shutter. Okay, so to minimize the risk of burns, the lever was made long for operators to open the molten steel gate from a safe distance. Is it designed in this way to prevent workers from getting burned? That's right. The molten steel in the furnace can reach a temperature of a staggering 1,600 degrees Celsius. Once the shutter is open, the temperature close by raises rapidly. It's much safer to open the furnace from such a distance. Afu, are these big crane hooks used to transport the ladle? Yep, these are the crane hooks of the bridge crane. It can lift up to 50 tons of a load. Shin, be careful of the molten steel up ahead. I'm unable to get any closer due to the heat. Okay, so we can't go that way. Okay, so let's furnish changing area. Shin, this is the changing area behind the furnaces. The workers working here should probably know something, right? Is this fuel that is piled up here? This is bulk material, mostly lime and fullerite and the sort. So you need lime to make steel. Yep, bulk materials are used to separate impurities from the molten steel.
Huh?
How come there's a steel sheet of tarpaulin here? So they kept steel scraps prepared for smelting piled underneath here. It's well protected. Can steel scrap be used as a raw material? These steel scraps are already quite rusty. That's the advantage of the open hearth process. Steel scraps can be used as raw materials. Mister, I'm Shin Chungping. I was entrusted to investigate Foreman Ting's falling incident. Could I have a moment of your time? Don't call me mister. I ain't used to that. I'm just a furnace charger. The name's Li Qinghai. You can call me Old Li. Ask all you want. Gives me time to rest a bit. Okay, so I'll ask about him. Miss Old Li, what are your main responsibility? What are you mainly responsible for? I'm responsible for charging the furnace. I'm also in charge of opening and closing the outlet. Does charging the furnace mean to add fuel to the furnace? Not fuel, but bulk materials. If you want the steel to be of high purity, you need to add bulk materials in every now and then. Are there any other workers on the second floor platform? There are a few helpers, but last night was just a trial production. I didn't ask them to come. It takes 4 hours to purify steel in a furnace, so it's enough for me to handle alone. You don't look so well, Oldley. Haven't you rested? I just pulled an all-nighter, and I was going to rest today, but then the incident happened. Those punks don't have the guts to work, so they're just grabbing onto me and draining me dry. Once Shen gets to the bottom of this, you'll be able to take a break. Take a break? That's just like looking forward to seeing the moon on New Year's Eve. Don't count on it. Okay, so about the foreman. What kind of person was Foreman Ting? He's a stubborn, one-tracked-minded guy who's not so popular. He's so obsessed with steel technology that he'd even forget to pay our wages. Ever since he started worshipping the gods, he became even less human. He even provoked...
Huh?
Provoked what? Never mind. There's no point in talking about this since he's already dead. Okay, about worshipping. Oldley, please tell us more about the foreman worshipping gods. We need to have a comprehensive understanding of him. You also think his death is related to that statue? Statue? What statue? He must have been possessed to provoke that sort of thing. They all say that it's easy to invite a god, but hard to send one away. If you neglect them, you could be possessed by an evil spirit, or worse, you may get killed.
Huh?
Oldley, you still haven't told us what Foreman Ting was worshipping, though. No, I just can't. It's unspeakable. I advise you both to stay far away from the shrine in the office. Okay, so eerie statues. Okay, about the incident. Were you working here when the incident occurred? I've been busy working here since last night. After pulling an all-nighter, the molten steel in furnace number 1 was finally ready. Once the ladle was filled, I checked the quality of the molten steel and closed outlet number 1. After that, I came back and started the autoloader and started preparing for the next batch. I was shoveling materials into furnace 1 and suddenly heard a boom. I saw furnace 2 emitting smoke, the molten steel splashed everywhere, and the railings on fire. I thought it was a furnace explosion, but it wasn't. Someone opened the outlet in advance. How could you be sure that someone else had opened it? The lever was in the buckle, so someone must have done it. Is it possible that you opened it yourself, but then forgot about it? No way. I couldn't have opened up furnace number 2 after I just finished working on furnace number 1. After I finish work on furnace number 1, it takes 1 hour to begin work on furnace 2. Is this why you think Foreman Ting pulled the lever himself? I don't know, but it could only have been him, right? Throughout this process, did you see Foreman Ting? Nope, I didn't see him at all. Actually, I only knew what happened after I heard Old Cho and the others talking about the incident. Wasn't Old Cho one of the workers who witnessed the incident? Yeah, I heard him say that Ting appeared next to the molten steel outlet out of thin air. Everyone's guessing it was the 5 ghost teleportation magic. All in all, it's strange business, I tell you. Okay, so we've asked him everything.
Huh?
Why is this door locked? That door is for the transportation of minerals, and elevators on the other side. This door is usually locked and only opens when we're transporting minerals. When was the last time minerals were transported up here? Let me think. It would have been 2 days ago? I finally get to see an autoloader with my own eyes. So this is what the structure of a crown block is like. Can we hop over that one? If we go further, would we be able to go around to the left side of furnace number 1? Molten steel is coming out from there, and it's scalding hot. We better not go over there. Okay, so we don't want to go over there. Okay, so a crown block. A crown block, also known as a bridge crane, is a type of hoisting equipment installed above workshops or warehouses to lift heavy objects. The structure of a crown block is similar to a cable car. However, what moves along the cableway of the crown block is not a carriage full of passengers, but a trolley connected to the lifting device. When the crown block is operating, the workers are able to control the trolley's movement in the control room and use the lifting device to transport goods. Shen only said he didn't see Ting. Could it be that Foreman Ting was deliberately avoiding him? That is possible. Even so, why would Foreman Ting do that? We know very little about the deceased at the moment, so it is too soon to judge. We also cannot rule out the possibility that Old Lee is withholding information from us. Shen, let's go and interview the workers in the ironworks. Old Lee said that Foreman Ting's death is related to the shrine in the office. I wonder what the shrine actually looks like. We will know once we go to the office and see for ourselves. Okay, so we're going to go back this way. Oh, I can't go there? Then where's the, Antivu, is the corpse mixed with the slag? Still thinking about an autopsy. If you could separate them, I'll examine the body for you. It seems that we will not be able to obtain any clues from the corpse this time. Okay, somehow I missed that one. Oh, ladle number 1. Slag is overflowing from the ladle. So this is how slag is discharged from the ladle. Slag is mainly composed of oxides of silicon, phosphorus, calcium, sulfur, and other elements. It will float on the surface of the molten steel due to temperature differences. Let me think of a simpler way to explain this to you, Shen. Slag is like the oil and pepper floating on top of a red oil hot pot. When the ladle is almost full of molten steel, the slag will naturally flow into the slag tank. Afu, that was a very imaginative metaphor. Stomach growl. Someone seems to be hungry. He who is iron becomes steel after rice. Missing out on a meal never feels nice. I didn't even taste the sweet, delicious sesame cake just so I could accompany you. Would you like to try out the molten steel hot pot in front of you? Shen, let's continue investigating this case. Okay, so there's nothing out here. I still can't go that way. Didn't I look at enough of the incident? Okay, slag. Slag refers to the material generated during the smelting process that floats above the metal surface, usually composed of a mixture of metal oxides and sulfides. Conveniently, the state of slag will be affected by the temperature as well as the content of metal oxides. At tapping temperature, slag is nearly in a liquid state. When the temperature drops to about 1,200 degrees Celsius, slag is basically in a solid state. Slag actually plays an important role in the particular steel-making process, as there is even a saying that only when slag is refined can steel be refined. Okay, so I guess we have to go back up here again. This is where Foreman Ting's falling incident took place. You're able to see the workers in the opposite metal casting area from here. Casting area. You can also see the ladle directly below. It's ginormous, like a well. When the incident happened, the well was filled with red-hot molten steel. I was going to say lava. It sure looks like the entrance to hell. No, this is the entrance leading to the truth. Shin, let's begin investigating. How did I miss that? Okay, so there's something here. Shin, there's some grayish-white powder underneath the railing. Upon closer examination, these are small particles that have a lingering, pungent smell. Okay, so found below the railing at the incident site upon close inspection were small particles. Afu, do you know what this is? Huh? I can't think of anything right now, but this must be a residue of something that was burnt. Shin, this is the molten steel basin. Once the shutter is open, molten steel of 1,600 degrees Celsius flows through here into the ladle. When that happens, the temperature close by will be extremely hot. This is the ladle that Foreman Ting fell into. It is now empty. Huh. Where did the molten steel go? Perhaps the workers may know something about this. Although there are scorch marks on the molten steel outlet shutter, it's still intact. It seems like a furnace explosion accident didn't occur at this time. Okay, so what else do we need to look at? A section of the railing next to the molten steel outlet is missing. You're right. Judging from the structure, there should be a movable crossbar here. This design makes it more convenient to clean the molten steel outlet. But where did the crossbar go? Could it be that it fell into the ladle? This detail is quite suspicious. There are scorch marks all over the railing. Foreman Ting's fall caused an explosion. Although quite a few people have mentioned the sound of explosion on site. Could it be possible the explosion occurred first, then Ting fell into the molten steel after? The human body contains a lot of water. When water meets molten steel, it will vaporize and its volume will expand 1,000 times. So if a person were to fall into molten steel, it's bound to cause an explosion. Then if the explosion occurred first and Ting fell after, there would have been 2 explosions. However, the workers only saw 1 explosion. It must have been caused by Ting's fall. 100% correct. Shen, could it be that someone orchestrated this accident? You mean someone deliberately loosened the railing? When Foreman Ting leaned upon it, the railing came off and fell into the ladle along with him? Exactly. That does seem practical. That does seem... Why can I not read that word? Let's just say, that does seem possible. However, how did that person convince Ting to lean against the railing after the shutter was open? Huh? Yes, when the shutter was open, the area nearby was very hot. The railings were scalding too. No hurry to conclude. We should investigate all the places that can be looked into first. Okay, so surely we got everything. Okay, low railing. And the railings on both sides of the outlet 1 are movable, and has the same design as outlet 2. Okay, so let's see if we can go farther now that we've seen the crime scene. There we go. After something like this, our wages are being paid early. Supervisor Ho, how about... Wu, keep your mouth shut. Just take the money and go. Huh? I don't think I've seen this young man before. We're not here to get paid. We're here to investigate the case. Ho Hesung Heng. This is Mr. Shen and his assistant, Afu. They are here to investigate the matter of Foreman Ting's falling incident. I see. It's a pleasure to meet you. I almost forgot this important matter. Po Singh, please make a deposit for Mr. Shen. Your Honor, I cannot accept this for nothing. Mr. Shen, I will reward you properly after you find out what exactly happened. Well, you need not refuse, Mr. Shen. The sooner everything is clear, the less damage the ironworks will have to sustain. Shen, it seems that if we don't accept the money, Mr. Deputy Administrator can't be at ease. All right. Okay, so Deputy Administrator Lee insisted on giving us coins engraved with Gangzhou period silver coins. Made in, and then can't read where they're made. If you have anything to ask me, I will gladly tell you everything I know. Okay, so let's ask about the supervisor. What are your duties, Mr. Ho? I'm the supervisor of funds. All things related to money here fall under my responsibility, such as bookkeeping, managing bills, as well as purchasing of goods and materials. And paying wages. You're a smart cookie, young boy, but I'm not the one who's in charge of paying the wages. Usually, the workers' wages are paid by the foreman directly, but that's why I'm doing it. I just heard from the workers that the wages for this month are being paid earlier than usual. Indeed, Mr. Lee has instructed me to do so, hoping that this will calm everyone down. You two probably don't know that the Simeon's Martin furnace in this incident was very expensive. After the incident, people on the factory floor were terrified, causing production to stagnate. For each day the furnace is not in operation, thousands of silver coins will be lost. No wonder Mr. Deputy Administrator seems so anxious. If you have anything to ask me, I will gladly tell you. Okay, so Foreman Ting. How's your relationship with Foreman Ting, Mr. Ho? My daily work intersected with Foreman Ting's, so I guess we were quite familiar. What kind of person was Foreman Ting? He treated people a bit harshly, so he was not very popular among the workers. However, I know that he was just too obsessed with studying metallurgy? Obsessed with what he loved. I totally get him. I heard that he had a habit of worshipping a statue. Do you know when it started, Mr. Ho? If you're asking about the statue, it's a long story. The quality of our steel products was not stable, so we didn't have a steady flow of funds. Mr. Sheng imported a German Siemens Martin furnace and ordered Mr. Lee to improve quality. We thought the problem would be solved, but our steel rails still have quality defects. Mr. Lee placed the burden onto Foreman Ting. Ting made a pledge promising he would get the job done. So that's when Foreman Ting began worshipping the gods. That statue was originally acquired by Mr. Lee. It was meant to be a symbol of luck. Who would have thought that Foreman Ting would become obsessed with worshipping the gods? He often closed himself off inside the office all day long. He became unusually thin and pale with a withered face, and he kept on mumbling strange things. What did he say? I don't quite remember. Something about Chinese teachings and Western teachings? Chinese traditional values for foundation, Western ideology for practical use? That's it. He said to make steel and Hangyang do as the ancient Hangyangers do. Huh? Well, I don't get that at all. I regret that I haven't paid more attention. Otherwise, none of this would have. If you have anything to ask me, I will gladly tell you everything I know. Okay, we're going to ask about the incident. Were you present when the incident occurred, Mr. Ho? I was checking inventory and only heard a bang. When I got there, the fire had been put out. I didn't know until after that it was... Mr. Ho, when and where was the last time you saw Foreman Ting? I ran into him yesterday evening, right around here. It was almost payday, so I was busy verifying the account book. I went to double-check workers' attendance with Foreman Ting. But when I met up with Foreman Ting, he still appeared absent-minded. He didn't respond when I called out to him. He walked into the office and locked himself inside. Everyone knows that he locks the door when he's worshipping the gods. When you saw him yesterday, was there anything else unusual about him? Nothing else, no. Oh, I do remember a small detail, though. I don't know if it counts. When I ran into him yesterday, he was wearing a headcloth. I've never seen him wear one before. He doesn't usually wear a headcloth? He thinks it's stuffy, so he rarely wears one. This detail deserves attention. I wrote it down, Chen. Okay, so he claims he last saw Foreman Ting yesterday evening near the steam turbines, and Foreman Ting was wearing a headcloth, which would be pretty unusual because I would assume a steel factory would be hot constantly, so I wouldn't think you'd want to keep your head covered. If you have anything to ask me, I will gladly tell you. Okay, so we've asked him everything. We got some good information out of him. The incident is a serious matter. If there's anything you want to know, Mr. Shen, just ask. Okay, so let's ask about Ting. Mr. Deputy Administrator, please tell us more about Foreman Ting. Foreman Ting began working at this ironworks when it was founded. He learned chemistry and steelmaking and also spent time in the laboratory. For the past 6 months, he had been transferred to the factory floor to work as a foreman. Although he was sometimes tough and stubborn, he's always been keen on studying steelmaking. Recently, we imported the most advanced Siemens Martin furnace from Germany. He had been researching on a new method of open hearth steelmaking, but he hadn't found the knack for it yet, and the quality of the last batch was less than ideal. The incident is a serious matter. If there's anything you want to know, Mr. Shen, just ask. Okay, so the operation. Mr. Lee, I heard that there was something wrong with the quality of the steel rails. It's hard to explain. I heard that the hardest part of steelmaking is removing the phosphorus. Fragmentation easily appears in steel with high phosphorus content. Was this the type of problem you were facing? Seems like a Fu knows the ropes. Indeed. Due to some reasons. The high-quality ores from Day were transported to Japan. We only got lower-grade ores. The Bessemer converters we originally had can't remove phosphorus effectively. So we spent large sums of money to import the Siemens Martin furnace from Germany. It really takes the painstaking effort of everyone to make good steel. It's only natural that we treat industrial prosperity as our duty. The incident is a serious matter. If there's anything you want to know, just ask. Okay, so about the incident. Mr. Deputy Administrator, where were you when the incident occurred? I was busy entertaining a guest, so I wasn't on the furnace factory floor. When I got there, the fire had already been put out. Fortunately, no further damage was caused. Although the fire was put out, terrifying rumors began to spread. The workers refused to work. I hope that Mr. Shen is able to uncover the truth as soon as possible. Okay, so there's nothing else to ask him. So we're gonna move on down. The roar of these machines is deafening. Shen, this is the sound of industry's heartbeat. Why did Mr. Lee make us cast these ingots? Shh, keep your mouth shut. Someone's coming. Are these ingots made from the furnace that Foreman Ting fell into? That's right, you gentlemen should stay away from this kind of unlucky thing. It'll be difficult to deal with later on if the molten steel cools down inside the ladle. Even so, we can't use these. The blood and bones of Foreman Ting are in here. Just thinking about it gives me the creeps. The human body is mainly composed of water and carbon. Its density is less than molten steel. His body wouldn't sink into the molten steel, but would float on the surface and flow into the tank. So, in essence, these are just ordinary steel ingots. Then, do you think his soul could be in these ingots? Awu, keep your mouth shut. It's time to get back to work. But Master, I'm afraid the shrine will unleash its powers again. Please wait. Again? Awu just said again, which means the shrine in the office had unleashed its powers before? What shrine? You must be deaf and heard me wrong. Oh, come on, buddy. We all know what you said. Shen and I both heard you. You definitely said it just now. Misters, that shrine, it's taboo. We are entrusted by Mr. Deputy Administrator to investigate the case of the following incident. If you don't cooperate, you might be convicted of obstruction of justice. Please don't be angry, mister. We'll talk. About a month ago, Awu and Foreman Ting had a little argument. Awu, young and candid, kicked the shrine. The statue fell. He said some words of disrespect. Then the shrine unleashed its powers? Well, yeah, there was smoke coming out of the shrine, and there was a gunpowder smell in the air. My head started throbbing, and I couldn't breathe, but I wanted to cough, so I almost fainted. Then what happened? Ting said that Awu had offended the god of fire, then he kicked everyone out of the room. That very night, Awu got sick and lost his voice. I had nightmares. Whenever I closed my eyes, I saw the statue staring at me. If the foreman hadn't begged the gods for forgiveness on Awu's behalf eventually, I'm afraid he wouldn't even be able to speak now. Could you... Mister, please, forgive us, but we really can't say anymore. Awu, we should get back to work. That's very suspicious. Shen, from the state of those two workers, they don't appear to be lying. Could it be that the shrine really unleashed its powers? Afu, do you know of any gas that smells of gunpowder and could harm the respiratory tract? So you think there was something off about the smoke, Shen? The smell of gunpowder usually appears after a firecracker is set off. The firearms made in Hangyang are quite famous, though. Afu, gunpowder doesn't cause a hoarseness of the voice, does it? Generally, it doesn't. I mean, it might if you're allergic to it. Shen, how about I give the shrine a kick as well? And there is no harm in trying. I'd prefer not to. What if there actually was a god? Shen, does wearing a headcloth even count as being suspicious? Wearing a headcloth in an ironworks not only prevents burns, but also reduces water loss. People do not make a change in habits lightly, not unless there is a particular reason. I mean, I guess that's true. It'd be kind of like wearing a sweatband, but still, I think it would be too uncomfortable. The doors are locked, off limits to loiterers. Mr. Patrolman, why is this door locked? What does that have to do with you? Sir, we were entrusted by Deputy Administrator Lee to investigate the Foreman Ting case. Oh, so it's Mr. Detective. Then of course I'd have to help you out. However, this room is impure. Impure? Everyone knows deep down how Foreman Ting died. Beware of the shrine in that room. We're not scared. Let us in to have a look. Thank you for your trouble, sir. Well, this is awkward. Just staring at me. Mr. Patrolman, why haven't you opened the doors yet? It really stresses me out having to help you open these doors. We need to complete investigations today, so we're short on time. Oh my, thinking about opening this door is making my head ache. Then move and I'll open it. Could I ask for your help? How can we help? I just heard a crisp, pleasant sound ringing out from you two. Could you lend me a hand to refresh my memory? Are you wanting a bribe? Something with a crisp and pleasant sound. Could he be asking for a present? He wants money. Afu, hand it over to him. Wow, what a jerk. Do you remember how to open the door? This sound is so enlightening to me. Well, that's not creepy. Shin, although this is just an ordinary statue, after hearing all those rumors, looking at it gives me the chills. It's almost as if Grandpa Gan Ying and Grandma Mo Yi are watching me. Ah, who's that? Who allowed you to just come in here? Who just said that? Who do you think? Is that Grandma Mo Yi? Okay, shine upon arrival, the calm, intelligent, and eloquent journalist makes her appearance. So I got that achievement. Young lady, please stop playing tricks. Who's playing tricks? If you weren't trying to tease people, why are the lights off? I just finished investigating and was about to leave. You were the ones who came in unexpectedly. What's wrong? Were you scared, kiddo? No, I wasn't. Oh, really? Then who did you just call Grandma? Shin, let's begin investigating. Investigate? Investigate what? The falling incident this morning? Yep. Deputy Administrator Lee invited us here especially. What? He promised he'd give me exclusive coverage. Which newspaper do you work for? Miss, this is a misunderstanding. I'm Shen Chongping, a detective. This is my assistant, Afu. Oh, so you're detectives. I'm Wen Koshen, a journalist from Shanghai News. However, I don't think there's any chance for Mr. Detective to show off in this case anymore. Huh? What do you mean? I'm just about to uncover the truth. Even the headline for tomorrow's paper is drawn up. Exclusive coverage, the whole story of the falling incident at the Hengyang Iron Works. In that case, would you be willing to share the clues that you possess, Miss Wen? It's fine if you want information, but you'll have to offer something useful to me in return. I'm an expert in science, and Shin is skilled in deduction. Is this enough? Physics is useful. It'll supply some theoretical knowledge for my articles. You can start asking me questions now. Okay, so let's ask about her. Miss Wen, why are you here at the Ironworks? The Ironworks has just won orders from the Shanghai Railway and the Canton Hakao Railway. However, its products were said to have quality problems. It's at the center of a storm. My journalistic intuition tells me that there is an opening for a story here. Former glory gone, Hengyang Ironworks endures hardship. A news report like this. The title alone already sounds interesting. Yet I was halfway done with my draft when this happened. So now you're planning to write about Foreman Ting's falling incident. I'm sorry for what happened, but this is definitely a better story. Okay, so about the incident. What were you doing at the time of the incident, Miss Wen? I was originally planning to take some photos of the factory floor this morning. When I got to the factory floor, I ran into Mr. Lee. He wanted to show me the new metal mixer. It wasn't long after we left the factory floor that we heard an explosion, and we hurried back. Miss Wen, did you arrange the rope barrier at the site of the incident? That's right. If the site is damaged in any way, the news report might be inaccurate. This measure was immensely helpful to the investigation. Well, of course. I'm a senior reporter. Okay, so let's about the truth. Miss Wen, what's the truth that you discovered? You want me to just give you the answers? You'll know soon enough. It's getting late. I still need to go to the metal casting platform to get my camera. Excuse me. Don't forget our promise. Shin, let's start investigating the site as well. We can't lose to Miss Wen. It's not a competition. It is only about the truth, not about winning or losing. I still don't like seeing her so pleased with herself. Dude, get over yourself. Oh goodness, we got a lot to read. Okay, so Simmons Martin Furnace, also known as an open hearth furnace, is a steelmaking furnace named after the inventors Carl Wilhelm Simmons and Pierre Emile Martin. The open hearth process was developed to enable the use of a proportion of pig iron and steel scraps as furnace charge to produce various high-quality grades of steel, greatly reducing production costs. However, the disadvantage of the open hearth process were evident. The average operation took too long, and the energy consumption was high. As a result, it was replaced by more of an advanced steelmaking methods in 1970. Okay, so Gan Ying and Mo Yi were a famous swordsmith couple from the spring and autumn period of 770 to 476 BCE. Known for forging two sharp swords named after themselves, over 1,000 years, many legends have evolved around them. In the spring and autumn annuals of Wu and Yi, when Gang Yang was commissioned by King Hilu of Wu to forge a sword and encounter the problem of the metal not melting, he was at a loss. Mo Yi mentioned, for divine objects to transform, they require human involvement. Recalling his master, Oyezi, who once sacrificed himself to the furnace when facing the same issues, resulting in a successful forging, both decided to cut their hair and nails and cast them into the furnace, thereby crafting two divine weapons. So maybe he cast himself in the furnace to fix stuff. Okay, Bessemer Converter is a steelmaking furnace named after its inventor, Henry Bessemer. The steel-making process derived from it is known as the Bessemer process, which laid the foundation of modern steelworking workmanship and marked the evolution of early industrial revolution from the Iron Age to the Steel Age. However, since this craft used acidic materials as furnace walls, it was unable to effectively remove phosphorus, sulfur, and other impurities in steel, so it gradually faded out of history. Okay, so the Yizhai, or the investigation of things to extend knowledge, originates from the phrase in the Great Learning, to extend knowledge to the utmost, one must investigate the principles of things. It refers to acquiring knowledge through the exploration of the nature of things. In the late Qing dynasty, Yizhai studies broadly encompassed disciplines such as mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology. In 1875, Shanghai Pyrotechnic Institute, an early institute for cultivating scientific talent in China, was established. The following year, British scholar John Fryer and Chinese scientist Zhu Zhao founded the Chinese Scientific Journal. The Chinese scientific magazine facilitated the spread of scientific knowledge in China. And then railways in the late Qing dynasty. By the end of the Qing dynasty, the Qing government gradually came to accept the railways despite them being a foreign product. The Canton-Hankow Railroad, stretching for more than 1,000 kilometers and taking 36 years to construct, was one of the longest railways that took the most time to establish. The Jingtai Railway, in game also known as the Shitai Railway, refers to the railway line from which Shizihang to Taiyuan, most of which was designed and built by the Chinese themselves. It is worth mentioning that the railways constructed in the late Qing dynasty formed the basic framework of China's railways. I'm sure I butchered those names. Okay, so the shrine is dedicated to the statue of Ganying and Mo Yi. The shrine is made of rosewood. It also holds an incense burner and 2 candlesticks. A copper incense burner with 3 sticks of incense placed vertically. Okay, so let's click on the desktop. The desk is clean, but the inkstone is covered with dust. It hasn't been used in a long time. Blueprints of the imported furnace are under the paperweight. Also documents in foreign languages. These papers are covered in handwritten notes. It seems like Foreman Ting put in a lot of work. Could a craftsman who studies technology and reads foreign documents be superstitious? That's hard to say. My idol, Mr. Newton, was a devout follower of theology in his old age. We should record the condition of the desk first. Okay, so on the desk sat a desk lamp, a paperweight, drawings, a pen holder, an inkstone, and other items, dust on the inkstone. Code of practice. Rule number 1, leaving without permission during work hours is prohibited. Rule number 2, name badges must be hung on the board during working hours. Rule number 3, all of the material used in production shall be managed by the foreman. Rule number 4, those who are absent from work will be fined 7 days and wages. Huh? Yikes. If you forgot to hang your name badge, it would count as skipping work. That's so strict. Shin, there's a Western wall clock here. The engraving says that this was a gift from the Wuhan Chamber of Commerce for water transport. Here's a board made of copper with several rows of hooks on it. Looks like workers need to hang their name badges on this board when they're on duty. Shen, this is the floor plan for the factory floor. The map looks quite new. It was probably put up not long ago. A working drawing of the open hearth furnace is pasted right beside it. Okay, so on the wall of the open hearth workshop office hung 2 drawings, a furnace construction plan, and then a map of the facility. So, Shen, Miss Wu mentioned going to the mental casting platform to get her camera back. Could it be that she caught something shocking on camera? I need to go to the metal casting platform to speak with those who witnessed the incident. Shen, the dock is right outside these doors. We will go out after we finish investigating this case. Okay, I think I've looked at everything. Shen, we'll reach the metal casting platform if we go up from here. Okay, where do I have to go? Oh. There we go. I went past it. That be related to him. Shh, someone's coming. Huh? There's a camera over here. This probably belonged to Miss Wynn. It's completely burnt. What a waste of a good camera. Why do people keep coming up here? I just shoot away a woman, and now 2 more guys show up. It's time for us to start casting ingots, so go back down right now. Ah Wu, it's the detectives. You have to speak more politely. Huh? Isn't that Ah Wu and his master? My apologies for disturbing you both. I still have a few more questions to ask. You're too kind, mister. Just call me Old Cho. If there's anything you'd like to know, we will definitely cooperate with you. Okay, so let's ask about the foreman. What do the 2 of you think of Foreman Ting? We don't have any particular thoughts about the foreman. He got what he deserved. There's nothing more to say about it. Oh, did he now? It seems that the 2 of you don't like Foreman Ting very much. From his point of view, anything anyone else does was always wrong. He just didn't like us. Ah Wu, there's no fault in the foreman having been strict with his demands. Everyone did as he said, but the last batch of steel rails still got screwed up, didn't it? He was just picking holes. If there's anything you'd like to know, we will definitely cooperate. Okay, so let's ask about the incident. Were you 2 the ones who witnessed the process of Foreman Ting's falling incident this morning? Yes. If I could trouble you 2 to please tell me what you saw and heard at the time. This was the first trial production since the furnace was shut down and renovated. Just when we began casting, Ah Wu suddenly said, "The foreman is watching us." There he was, standing next to the outlet. Molten steel was coming out, yet he didn't mind the heat. Are you sure that the person you saw at the time was Foreman Ting? I'm sure. He was leaning on the railing at the time. He looked spiritless, and he kept staring downwards. You did not notice Foreman Ting before this moment? No, he just appeared there out of the blue. The railings are super hot when molten steel is pouring out, but he didn't care at all. If he wasn't possessed by something, then what? Old Cho, you said earlier that when you saw Foreman Ting, molten steel was coming out. Did you see Foreman Ting or anyone else open the molten steel outlet shutter? Nope. When we began casting, both molten steel outlets were closed. I remember clearly. I don't know who did it. It wasn't the time to open the shutter yet. And then, I just watched as the railing that he was leaning on disappeared.
Huh?
Disappeared? You mean the railing broke off and fell into the molten steel along with him? No, it disappeared, just vanished into thin air. I was watching the entire time. I didn't see anything else fall in. Old Cho, did you also see the railing suddenly disappear? I didn't see it as vividly as Wu did, but the foreman was indeed leaning against the railing, and then he suddenly fell into the ladle. Then it exploded, and fire was everywhere. When I looked again, he was no longer there, and there was no railing either. Did you notice anything unusual about him this morning? He was wearing a headcloth that he usually doesn't wear. Nothing else. Yeah, I saw it too. Gentlemen, we're about to start casting soon. Just go back down already. Don't be in our way. Rude. Whoa, the ladle's coming this way. What are you two still doing here? It's too dangerous to stay here, sir. My apologies, we shall make ourselves scarce. Mr. Shen, Mr. Lee is waiting for you in the office. He said that progress has been made in the case, so he's asking to meet up with you, Mr. Shen. I've already finished the investigations. Time to discuss with Mr. Deputy Administrator. Shen, things seem to be getting stranger and stranger. We still haven't figured out how Foreman Ting appeared out of thin air. Two more oddities, the disappearance of the railing and the sudden opening of the shutter. Even if Foreman Ting was able to avoid Old Lee, it would be quite difficult for him to be unseen by Old Cho and Wu. How exactly could this have been achieved? Judging from the previous investigation, Foreman Ting was obsessed with steelmaking technology. Then again, all oddities related to the shrine also indicate that he was worshipping a statue. Maybe he was just too focused on achieving success. That's why he decided to go to the extremes. Or perhaps the statue holds a different meaning for him. Okay, so those are all cleared up. So let's go ahead and head to the office then. Investigations have come to a temporary close. Shall we discuss them with Deputy Administrator Lee? Okay, so begin now. Miss Wynn has already uncovered the whole story of the incident. Let's listen to it together. Miss Wynn, please tell us about your findings. Truth behind Foreman Ting's falling incident. Ting's death wasn't caused by ghosts, nor was it an accident. It was actually suicide. Suicide? That's out of the question. Today is the pivotal moment for the trial production of the Simeon's Martin furnace. Ting was engrossed in this affair. There's no way he would kill himself today of all days. It is precisely because of today's importance that he chose to commit suicide. Why is that? All these years, Foreman Ting has been obsessed with studying steelmaking technology. He proposed a method that was said to greatly reduce the cost of production. As a result, the Hangyang Iron Works began to receive large orders for steel rails. However, at this crucial moment, severe quality problems with the steel rails were exposed. Ting shouldn't have carried all the blame. It was mainly due to the high phosphorus content in the coke that was used. To solve this problem, he made a pledge to improve the technique once more. However, each and every trial production ended in failure. In desperation, he had no choice but to turn to superstitions and legends. What happened this morning was actually a planned suicide, or more like a sacrifice. Could it be that I put too much pressure on him? Tragic. Foreman melts body to iron and steel. National industry less than ideal. This will be the next headline of my news report. Miss Wen, you seem absolutely sure that Foreman Ting committed suicide. Do you have any evidence? Well, of course. I found Foreman Ting's suicide note on the office desk. Wait. Hold it right there. Where's the suicide note? How come we never saw it? Such precious news material would obviously need to be protected. How could you hide evidence like that? I was afraid this clue would be lost, so I took it for safekeeping. How could that count as hiding evidence? It kinda is. Miss Wen, would it be possible to let me look at the note, take a look at this letter? Sure, there's nothing special about it anyway. For many years, I have given my all to try and make good steel. Nevertheless, all of my attempts and methods have ended in failure. It seems that I should follow the example of Gang Jian and Mo Yi. Sacrificing myself to the furnace will surely move the hearts of the gods. The last words of Ting Tafeng, written in the office of the furnace factory floor. Shen, it really is a suicide note. Your Honor, the handwriting does look like Foreman Ting's. Miss Wen, you didn't damage the evidence, did you? Of course not. I kept it exactly the way it was. Under these circumstances, Singh, go and draft an announcement. Announce the whole story of this incident and quell the rumors. Hold on. Something is questionable about this letter. This is just an ordinary letter. What's wrong with it? There's a detail in this letter that conflicts with the existing evidence. Miss Wen, I shall review this letter one sentence at a time and question the problematic ones. Then, I shall compare the questionable content with the evidence we have already collected. If I'm able to find evidence that contradicts the contents of the letter, I shall present it to you. Alright, go on then. I was going to say the ink that was found at the table, or the desk, supposedly had dust all over it. For many years, I have given my all to try and make good steel. Nevertheless, all of my attempts and methods have ended in failure. It seems that I should follow the example of Gan Yang and Mo Yi. Sacrificing myself to the furnace will surely move the hearts of the gods. This furnace factory floor. On the desk set, a desk lamp, paperweight, drawings, pen holder, and inkstone, and other items dust on the inkstone. Because it said it was written on the office. That has to be the proof. Does Miss Wen believe that Foreman Ting wrote this suicide note in the office? This letter was written with a calligraphy brush. It was written on the desk in the office. Then have you even paid attention to the inkstone on the office desk? Inkstone? This suicide note is indeed written with a calligraphy brush. It also mentions written in the office at the end. However, the only inkstone in the office is dry and has accumulated a layer of dust. Evidently, it has not been used in a long time. There is an evident contradiction. This letter could not have been written at the office. Ironworks are always dusty, so it's normal for dust to accumulate. Yet there is barely any dust on the desk, not to mention the shrine is completely spotless. It is thus clear that only the inkstone has not been used in a long time. Well, what if Foreman Ting carried a brush and ink around with him? Who in the world would carry an inkstone around? You're being too unreasonable. Is Mr. Detective going to dismiss this possibility? Miss Wynne, you're welcome to make such an assumption. However, there is one detail on this letter that contradicts the signature. Okay, point out the place that contradicts with the signature. I have no clue. How am I supposed to tell that? Maybe it means like the folds. Mr. Shen, you're saying there's something wrong with the creases. Precisely. Miss Wynne said that she had specifically kept this letter as it was to prevent damaging evidence. Therefore, Miss Wynne was not the one who caused these creases, correct? That's right, I didn't make those creases. When you discovered the letter, it was lying flat on the surface of the office desk, correct? Yeah, what's the problem? There are creases on the letter. Usually, a letter is folded so that it is more convenient to carry. If this letter was truly written by Foreman Ting in the office before he committed suicide, why would he go through the trouble of folding it? Maybe he wrote the letter somewhere else. But the letter clearly states that it was written in the office of the furnace factory floor. That's true. Could it be that the suicide note was forged? That is correct. Someone is trying to cover up the truth of Foreman Ting's death. What? What need is there to cover up Foreman Ting's death? The workers clearly saw him jump into the furnace. Could it be possible that the workers who witnessed the incident are hiding something? Go and bring all the workers who were present at the time of the incident for questioning. Yes, sir. I was going to say those two guys probably had something to do with it. Mr. Detective, you still haven't completely convinced me about the problem of the suicide note. None of us can accurately predict the state of mind of a person before their death. It's also possible that Ting wrote the letter somewhere else, then left it in the office. Although this is highly unlikely, the possibility does exist. We should not make conclusions based on a single piece of evidence. Let's discuss it later. Okay, so it says Foreman Ting, vexed at his steelwork failure, wrote a letter in the office, then chose death in homage to steel. Then let's put the matter of the suicide note on hold and discuss other doubts first. Fine. Your Honor, Old Cho and Ah Wu are here. Come on in. The two of you need to recall the events of this morning once more. Don't omit any details. We spent all morning saying the same things a bunch of times. Ah Wu, answer His Honor's questions properly. Oh. At the time, my master and I were in the middle of casting ingots. I suddenly saw the foreman Ting. He was resting against the railing next to the outlet number 2. When Ah Wu informed me of what he saw, I noticed that the shutter behind Foreman Ting was open. So the outlet shutter opened at the same time as the appearance of the foreman. I think. He probably opened it himself. Seconds after Ting suddenly dived forward, right after that the ladle exploded. There's one contradiction within their statement that is related to this evidence. At the time my master and I were in the middle of casting ingots, suddenly saw the foreman Ting. He was resting against the railing. Could he have really seen him? I noticed the outlet shutter behind Ting was open. He likely opened it himself. Seconds after Ting slowly dived forward. I think it's either in this one or it's in this one. Because I feel like they couldn't see something. So either they couldn't see the shutter or he couldn't see him completely. I think it's this one. I think it's the shutter opener. It was impossible for Foreman Ting to open the outlet shutter by himself. Yeah, because it was on the other side. He couldn't have been on that side. Because the metal would have started coming out of the shutter area and he wouldn't have been able to get onto the other side. He could not have been the only person on site. Why not? The lever is very long. To pull it, one must stand on the other side of the molten steel basin. However, when they saw Ting, they also found the outlet shutter open. This could not be achieved by one person alone. It might not have been completely simultaneous. After all, Awu and I weren't staring at the other side the entire time. Mr. Detective, couldn't Foreman Ting just open the shutter, then sprint to the ladle? No, he could not, because this was present on site. Point out the reason why it's impossible to reach the ladle that quickly. Be this, wouldn't it? After Foreman Ting pulled the lever, he must have stepped over the basin to reach the fall-in spot. However, once the outlet shutter is opened, the basin will be filled with molten steel of 1,600 degrees Celsius. A person could not possibly pass through. To reach the spot he dived from, Ting had to pass through the changing area behind the furnaces. This could not have been achieved in a short amount of time. Perhaps Foreman Ting opened the outlet shutter beforehand. And it was only a coincidence that Old Cho and Awu didn't see him do it. The outlet shutter was closed the whole time before the incident. I'm not lying. Even if Old Cho and Awu possibly missed sighting him, when Ting passed through the refilling area, he was bound to run into the furnace charger, Old Lee. How do we explain the fact that Old Lee was completely oblivious to Ting's appearance? Or did the 5 ghosts transport him? Did the shrine unleash its powers? Ghosts and gods are not at work here. The will of a person is. One other person must have been present at the scene of Foreman Ting's falling incident. The moment Foreman Ting leaned against the railing, that person pulled open the outlet shutter. Wait a second. With Old Cho and Awu watching in front of the furnace and Old Lee working in back, if there really was another person present on site, how could they possibly remain undetected? By using this piece of evidence, they would be able to conceal themselves tactfully. They could have hid behind this the whole time because it does move. So let's go with that. If that person wanted to conceal their tracks, all they had to do was utilize the ladle. I got it. Shin is talking about a visual blind spot. This so-called blind spot, does it refer to an area that cannot be seen? Yes, this ladle is 2 meters tall and 1.5 meters in diameter. It would definitely block their vision. But my master and I were standing in different places when we were casting. One of us will always be looking at the other side. Old Cho, where were you and Awu standing during this task? What was your distance from the ladle? Usually I stand on the left side of the ladle and Awu stands next to me. We're close to it. I have observed the two of you working from the metal casting platform. Both of you have blind spots when you are working, and your blind spots intersect each other. That is where the suspect hid themselves. But my master and I don't just stand there. When the ladle moves, we move along with it. Wouldn't we see them once we started walking? The reason why you would not be able to see the suspect is because Absolute blind spot present. Suspect moved. He moved with the ladle. It has to be. It is quite simple. By moving alongside the ladle, they could continuously stay in the blind spot. That's true. As long as they can't see the workers won't be able to see them. Because the path of light is reversible. Interesting. If this was published in a novel or column, I'm sure readers would be interested. However, I'm afraid Mr. Detective forgot that Ting's falling caused an explosion. If there was another person on the platform at the time, how could they survive? Yet there were no other casualties in the falling incident today. How do you explain that? I believe the suspect could have hidden here. Okay, so possible hiding spot for the suspect. Because you can see the burn marks here. I mean, is it possible that they ran around? I mean, they could have moved here because they were busy paying attention to what was going on there. The passageway on the right side of Furnace 2 was not affected. They could hide there. Hidden behind the ladle, they were not far from the passageway when the explosion occurred. While Ting's appearance caught the attention of the workers, they hid inside the passageway. Sounds like the suspect not only knows steelmaking, but also knows people well. But that still doesn't seem right. Oh, what right do you have to interrupt their conversation? Oh, what other problems are you aware of? I clearly saw Ting leaning on the railing. He toppled over because it suddenly disappeared. If the shrine didn't unleash its powers, how could the railing suddenly disappear? Railings won't disappear into thin air, kiddo. Ghosts don't exist in this world either. But I saw it with my own eyes, I swear. I am also 100% sure that what you saw, 100% sure that you saw things incorrectly. It's easy for people's memories to get confused when they're nervous or afraid. I didn't see incorrectly. Miss Wen, why are you so sure that Awu was mistaken? When I was taking photos yesterday evening, the railing was already missing. Oldly, the furnace charger, was the only person on duty last night. He claims that he didn't install any railings. If you don't believe me, look at this photo. Shin, there really is no railing above the ladle. But I saw him leaning against the railing. Stop sticking your neck out, you. Too much talk is always a loss. Mr. Shen, if there wasn't a railing above the ladle, that means that Ting stood there by himself. The workers are also absolutely certain that there wasn't anyone around him. Then how did he fall into the ladle? That's why I said it was a suicide. However, combined with Mr. Detective's deductions, it's possible someone is helping him. The disappearance of the railing and Ting's falling may be connected to this. Probably this. This is the powder that Apu found near the railings. This powder is actually grayish-white particles that have a lingering pungent smell. This is the residue of a burnt substance. We have only found it at the site of the incident. This indeed doesn't seem like something used in steelmaking. We believe that the suspect set up some kind of mechanism on site that caused Ting's falling. I never thought that the story behind a falling incident could be so complicated. A mechanism is quite newsworthy. So what kind of mechanism was it exactly? Well, we still need some time to investigate that. I've seen a number of Western machines, strange and intricate things that left me in awe. If the mechanisms you speak of can be restored, this whole incident will basically make sense. Ghosts and gods were not at work here, but machinery caused it all. However, there's still one thing I can't understand. The series of plans was quite complicated and required the cooperation of Foreman Ting. Why would Foreman Ting be at the mercy of another? Okay, he planned this himself. He was coerced. I am afraid he already... Maybe he was coerced? Maybe it was something with the gods? I'll go with that one. Maybe Foreman Ting was coerced by someone. Maybe someone got a handle on him, or the lives of his friends and family were threatened. If the suspect could coerce Foreman Ting to walk to the railing on his own accord, he would not have the need to go up to the second floor personally. Just told Ting to jump. That is true. That makes sense. Why would Foreman Ting be at the mercy of another? I'm afraid... I don't know what this one... Let's go, he planned it himself. Could it be that this was all an act planned by Foreman Ting? What act? Like jumping into a ladle as a performance? All signs indicate that Foreman Ting purposefully created an eerie atmosphere around the shrine. His strange death undoubtedly pushed this atmosphere to its peak. Huh? Shen, I just thought of something. If Ting jumped into the ladle by himself, wouldn't there be no need to set up a mechanism? Oh, that is true. That is correct. We need to consider other possibilities. I'm glad that they don't count that against me, because this one, I didn't understand what this was saying. I'm afraid he already. That's why I didn't go with this one, but it turned out that was the answer. I am afraid that Foreman Ting at the time had already come to harm. How is that so? To see, like, if they would have said come to harm, I might have picked that one, because the fact that, like, he was able to stand by the hot lava or molten metal and not be affected. He had the headscarf on. People said he was kind of, like, not really there. So that would have, made more sense. I will claim that he saw Foreman Ting leaning against the railing, staring directly downward. The railings were burning hot, but it did not matter to him because he could not feel anymore. His eyes were not looking down, but instead closed. This also explains why Foreman Ting did not jump down, but instead dived forward. Therefore, I suspect that this was a murder. Murder, then... Your Honor, we need to conduct another round of investigations. Although we have a preliminary deduction of the suspect's MO, there's still many mysteries. Like how the suspect left the scene, as well as the suspect identity and their motive. We have no clue at all at the moment. Ting is stubborn and has offended many people. But he is a diligent man who shouldn't have suffered such misfortune. At present, the ironworks can't afford to be delayed any further. Your Honor, the nature of a homicide is different. If the villain commits more crimes, the ironworks will lose even more. If there is no conclusion by tomorrow morning, you may draft an announcement to calm public opinion. Besides, I believe Mr. Detective will uncover the truth before tomorrow morning. Isn't that right, great detective? I will do my best. Then let's act accordingly to Miss Wynn's suggestion. Shen, why is Miss Wynn on our side all of a sudden? She doesn't seem to mind that she lost you either. I heard that, kiddo. Who said this was a competition? Huh? The news should be more important to Miss Wynn. How about this? Following incident shrouded with mystery, detective tries to uncover conspiracy. Shen, what should we do next? If Foreman Ting had already come to harm when the falling incident occurred, that proves that the second floor furnace area is most likely not the primary crime scene. We need to think of a way to find the primary crime scene. Okay, so we have to find the crime scene. Alright, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and end it there, and when we come back, we are going to look more into this investigation that has now turned out to be a murder. which I kind of figured already. I didn't think it would be suicide or anything like that, but yeah, I figured it was going to eventually lead to murder. Somebody did it. And next episode, we're going to figure out who that somebody was. So please leave me a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Bye.